please, the system works. Just trust the system, trust the process, do what we've been teaching people all over the world to do successfully. Just do it.
Recently learned that it is more about helping people to understand the financial possibilities that are there. There is no ceiling to what someone can earn, what someone can make.
Hello and welcome to Not Financial Advice with me, Lewis Crompton, and today we are joined by Matt Baker. Me and Matt actually go back years. Matt is a property investor extraordinaire who has a special focus. You may have figured it out already by seeing his screen, which is HMOs. So we're going to talk about a bit of his history, a bit of his background, and just have a good old chinwag as well, and address the question, is HMO dead as a property investing strategy? Oh, I know it felt painful, that didn't it? It felt painful to even say it, Matt. So yes, Matt, just introduce yourself to everybody. Share with us a little bit about kind of your background, your journey, not in too much detail because people want to have a little bit of mystery. But yeah, just kind of where you started and where you've kind of got to now.
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, thank you, Lewis, for inviting me on. And yeah, we do go way back because it was when we first met in my first year of property investing, when I was trying different strategies and you were getting into your trading and you were kind of coaching just started coaching at the time. And now you've gone to trading at extraordinaire. So it's fantastic to see progression from your side as well, which is brilliant. So yeah, obviously my name is Matt Baker. Historically, I'm a musician. I think that this is probably one of the reasons why we connected quite early on, because I'm a piano player and obviously you love your all things music and musical and singing. I remember you, I don't know whether you want to go into this in this particular YouTube video.
People know who I am.
Standing on the table and singing show tunes in a conference about FX trading.
Yeah.
I thought,
I mean, priorities, right?
Well, exactly. It's like there's a man I can get down with. Yeah, yes, we've known each other for a long time, and yeah, I'm a musician. I was freelance all through my 20s, and then kind of the income being very choppy, very up and down. And I didn't really want that for myself forever. And I could see people that I was working with who were older, who were still literally living from gig to gig, hand to mouth, essentially. And even I actually remember one of my friends who was saying, even as like a top flight jazz pianist, which is what he has become actually, he was saying, there's a cap of a salary that I can make. It's like 40k. I was like, wow. I don't really want to be capping my salary. No, that was probably about 10, 15 years ago, maybe 50k now. It's like, well, it's capping your salary at something which is achievable in most career paths for a lot of people. And I just thought, well, I want more than that. So how can I create sustainable income and stay in the music industry? So that's when I started teaching. I set up a music school, and I had a music school when we first met, and that was great. There was a huge demand for good quality teaching, and I started just by teaching piano, and then had other teachers come in. It's when I was trying to grow that business that I discovered property investing. I went to a business networking event, and there were speakers talking about different strategies, and we bumped into, well, I didn't bump into, but there was a few people speaking, one of which was your old mentor, who then I went and did some FX trading mentoring with you and Ali. And then there was Jill, who talked about property. I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. And I did that. I also did some public speaking. I basically just put a whole lot of stuff on credit card. Like, I'm doing something different. I'm changing my life. I'm away from this, what I was doing, which it was all right, but I could see that there was potential for more. So then got into property investing and put it into practice. I was determined, I stuck it on a credit card. I had to make it work. I didn't have any money to start, so I needed to do it. And that drive is what's been, has kind of been driving me ever since, really. And bought my first buy to let, and I was always told, as you know, you need HMOs. When you do property investing, you go buy to lets, and you go HMOs because of the cash flow that they can give you. And that's what I did. But then I realized I could do HMOs a lot better than what I was being shown, what I was being taught, and because they were talking about the beige box, rinse and repeat. You don't live in the house yourself, whereas actually I think that whole ethos for us anyway in the networks I'm in has flipped to be, actually no, most of our HMOs are nicer than my own house.
Yeah.
Amazing. Because we invest in them. We invest in our tenants. We ensure they have a great space to live, and in return we get great, really high rentals. We get, which are still affordable and less than if someone was to go rent a house by themselves and pay their own bills. So it's still a better space than they can rent elsewhere. And also we get much higher valuation, so we can justify the expense and the investment in those assets. And they're also highly sought after as an asset as well. My view, HMOs are definitely not dead. In fact,
I haven't asked you that question yet, Matt. You're jumping the gun.
I know. I need to get in there. It's like buy to lets are dead. As an investment strategy, buy to lets are actually the only way. Sorry, not buy to lets. HMOs are the only way to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, I historically hate HMOs, but
I know.
That's because I did them poorly, and I will hold my hands up to that. And I know I did them poorly. I didn't have your education about how to do them well. But 2024 is a new year. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. So a couple of things I want to pick out from what you said there, which I just find really interesting. So you said that really early on, you realize you wanted more than kind of the capped income. That's a statement which I think a lot of people probably also have and also say, but it's quite a blanket statement. So what did more mean for you? What did that actually look like? What was the drive behind that?
Well, at the time, I was married to my first wife, or as I call her, the wrong wife, and you knew her and met her at the time as well. And it was about, for me, starting to build a legacy for the future family that we were going to build. Obviously, as we progressed, that relationship break down, and then it was more about having something to focus on as my personal life was kind of going and kind of toppling over. And then it was very clear that, I was like, I'm building this legacy. I don't know who I'm building it for yet, but I'm building this legacy. And I was working with my parents, I was working with my sister, I was working with my friends, people that I liked and wanted to help by, because I would say that I'm probably the driving force behind most of the businesses all the businesses that I'm involved in, essentially. I wanted to help the people that was around. And at the time it was the family. Then met wife number two, or should I say the right wife, and then had two wonderful kids. And it's now very clear from kind of this year onwards that the way that we're doing things, the way that we're structuring things has changed, actually, because it is all about building that legacy for them. And it's building good quality projects, good quality deals, unpicking some of the things that we did that we probably shouldn't have done in the past, the things that didn't go as quite as we wanted to. So unpicking some of those. In any business, you've got things that you're really happy with that gone really well, and things that haven't gone as well as you might have hoped. So within that, it's like, let's go through and have this portfolio which I can then, that's going to sustain the family moving forward. That is the driving force for me. But also, I've recently learned that it is more about helping others to understand the financial possibilities that are there. There is no ceiling to what someone can earn, what someone can make, and helping people to realize that and giving them strategies. And HMOs is just one way of doing that, which is the one that I started with. But if I was to start again, maybe I'd have taken a slightly different route to get out of HMOs is where I'll be, but there's all sorts of different things that you can do to to take those initial steps. But the most important step is always the first one.
Completely. And again, going back to what you said earlier about the fact that you knew you wanted more, you didn't entirely know what it was. So you just threw a load of stuff onto the credit card to get education and to learn what was going to be the thing. And I really resonate with that, because that's exactly what I did. I turned up into the wrong seminar about Forex trading instead of property. And I was like, take my credit card. This is an opportunity I don't want to miss out on. So I took out a loan, took out a credit card, paid half my annual salary at the time to get education. But that makes you invested, right? Not just financially, but emotionally and mentally and all of that sort of stuff. It makes you invested. Because obviously you educate as well now, which is brilliant. Do you find that people who have that level of investment, because it is maybe more of a sacrifice, and not necessarily just on the financial side, but they're really putting the time in, they're sacrificing time, they're sacrificing energy and finance to do this thing, which is all for the purpose of making their life better in some way? Do you think that's a characteristic of those that you notice being more successful, or do you not think that's a characteristic and it's kind of neither here nor there?
I think it comes down to the individual. I think it always comes down to the individual and their drive, regardless of where they come from, because you can have someone who puts it on a credit card and then actually doesn't do anything with it, and then regrets it and then moans about it, saying, I didn't get any value out of it. And then you'll have someone who's got all the money in the world who then does it and then doesn't do anything with it because they're still really comfortable. So I think it still comes down to the person. I'm just thinking about all of our clients in the different situations, and our clients are successful because they are driven, they are supported, they've got a clear plan of what their plan of attack. And we've got some people who started with very, very little and are very driven. They need to to raise the money. They need to go out there and do it. You've got one particular client at the moment who's a teacher, named Christina, and she basically handed in a notice, and she's just doing supply teaching to bring in a little bit of money, but then is like, I have to bring in money, I have to bring in cash quickly. How can I do this? So it was like, well, we could do this is going to give this. And she's got 3 projects agreed in 2 months, which have the potential to give her like for 5,000 pounds a month in profit. But it's delayed because a lot of it is you got to do the works, etc. So she's like, how can I gain cash quicker? So we're looking at just different strategies. You can get cash flow within a couple of months if you do it the right way. So she's really driven. But then you've also got other clients like Julie and David. They've got their own capital behind them, but again, they're driven. They understand the power of education, the power of the network. And they've gone out and they're on their 3rd project in the year, and they're doing some amazing things. So I don't think it matters where the person starts. It's about their resolve, and I suppose why they're doing what they're doing. So it's always start with why. So that, Simon Sinek.
Well, Simon Sinek, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that is definitely true, and one thing we're starting to push more into with our education company as well is really connecting to that why. And the part of it is because we know investing, a lot of it does come down to mindset, particularly with trading, because it's a day-to-day thing. But we are noticing that those who stay connected to their why all the way through the journey get better results. So then as an educator, as a mentor, one of the things we're thinking is, right, how can we regularly help people connect with their reason why and not forget it? Because the reason they get started is because they have a strong why. But sometimes because of the comfortability, the difficulty of life, it can kind of take a back seat and people forget about that. So reconnecting with it. And again, people who are very driven, they do that kind of naturally because they wake up almost with a sense of I'm moving towards something, and they do the work that's required to get there as quickly as they can. So yeah, I think I do actually agree with that big time. So what got you into the education space? What made you want to move over into that world?
Well, I think I'm a natural teacher. I like to share what I know. And when I was as a musician, I was playing lots, but I also enjoyed sharing, piano technique. I really enjoyed helping people to get quick results in playing like songs on the piano. It wasn't necessarily about just like do your scales and do your grades and all of that. That was part of it. But some students that just came, I just want to play. I was like, okay, well, let's play. So then you could do that and you get massive rewards and a buzz out of seeing someone go from struggling to know where the notes are. Someone actually hears a song and you just learned this song, which is actually about 1,000 songs in one. And they now suddenly realize whether they're, 8 or 80, they suddenly have that massive sense of achievement. So in the same way with property, I feel like it was a natural progression, especially since I went through education. Yeah. So I saw it, and actually I did quite a lot of education from different providers. It was that initial one that kind of got me going, but then I did go and I need to broaden my knowledge. I need to know what else is out there. I need to understand how other people are doing it. And I saw the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of property education. Yeah. I've wasted thousands of pounds in education that's got me absolutely nowhere. But I've also invested tens of thousands of pounds in investment, which has got me where I am today in myself. So, and I still pay a good 5 figures a year in self-education. Because
what do you think makes the difference between that education which does get you value and moves you forward and education that doesn't? Because I'm the same as you. I'm constantly investing in myself, and sometimes it's a bit of a mixed bag in terms of how good it's been. So what do you think it is that makes the difference?
Well, I suppose just the first thing is that no experience is good or bad because it takes you somewhere else. So for example, the bad education that I paid for was actually an investment in that's how not to do it. So when I'm doing my own education, I'm like, okay, now I know that this doesn't work, or these were the complaints that myself and the other people that were in that scenario had. So how can we mitigate against that when we're doing it? So we put together like a program which is designed to encompass the different elements of having support, education, and motivation. The right experts that you need. It's not just about one person. I've seen where education has failed, it's generally because it's too much about one individual who suddenly gets hype about them and go, oh, they're the expert in this, the guru or whatever. And that one person cannot physically deliver good quality education to thousands of people. So I think it's about the team. There's a quote, it's like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Yeah. And I think that's the approach that we take. Because yes, I'm the one that's out there talking about it, but we've got quite a strong team that are here that are supporting our clients and as well, which means that first of all, foremost, I can focus on the bits that I'm good at, helping where's necessary. And then the other experts that we have and the other successful investors can then get involved in the same way that I know that you have a team as well that support your students. I think it's about resilience. So the education which is good is the one which evolves with the times, doesn't get stuck in the past. It's one that is pushing the boundaries. So for example, we're actively doing it. So we didn't do it 5 years ago and saying how we did it 5 years ago. We're saying this is what we did 3 years ago, but this is what we're doing right now, and this is what our clients are doing right now. But also, we're not actively sitting in the sidelines of the industry. And I'm part of the lobbying group. We managed to change the law on council tax and HMOs. That literally is one of the only positive legislative changes that anyone has been able to get. It pretty much in this government for landlords and tenants, because it affects tenants more than it does landlords. But I mean, it's they're all interconnected, so it's just unfair. But we managed to change the law. And that in itself, it shows that for me, it's about do it, teach it, and act, be authentic. Yeah.
if that lobbying group can now target the selective landlord licensing rubbish, that would be great, because that's another ridiculous tax, in my opinion.
Well, we do actually have selective licensing, I think, will become potentially moot point soon anyway, with the new landlord registers and all of that. So with landlord registrations, every landlord will have to pay something again, which just makes it level playing field. And that's the difference with things like with council tax and HMO rooms, is that it was never a level playing field. So if that was the rule for everybody, then that's the market. Everyone's going to go, yeah, it is what it is. But when it was just randomly, there was no uniformity to how these decisions were being made, and basically the rules were being made up as they were going along by the Valuation Office Agency. So we managed to get some clarity, legislation coming very soon, and it should be all sorted by the end of the year, and all HMOs that have been rebanded should technically be sorted by the spring, proactively. So what was the question?
Something along those lines. Well, I was talking about landlord licensing, because I think it's just
yes. And what we're going to say is we've got a meeting coming up whereby we are going to be looking at how we can affect more change generally around HMOs, because we feel HMOs are hugely underrepresented as a property investment type, as a housing type in general. Like the NRLA, to be fair, didn't really care about our lobbying until we won, and then they're shouting and screaming all about it. But they had very little impact on the results. It was our efforts and the group's efforts, not mine. I helped, but there were members of our group were pushing it forward, and together we were supporting. And then so HMO specifically, and because it houses, the government estimate there's 497,000 HMOs in the UK. If each of those is a 6-bed HMO on average, that's 3 million people. It's 5% of the UK population.
Exactly.
That's worth shouting about, and having someone fighting the corner for landlords and tenants.
Yeah, completely agree. So jumping back to good education versus bad education, one of the things that I agree with you about is there always needs to be that element of support. I also think because one person can't deliver all of it. And if you think that one person is going to be your savior, then that's why they say never meet your heroes, because that's never going to be the case. I personally believe as well that part of a really good educational process needs to be a really good system, a really good structure, a really good process that is really clear for people to follow, and as simple as possible. Not everything in the world is simple, but can still be worth doing, but as simple as it can be, so it's easy to adopt and easy to achieve. So when it comes to teaching HMOs, do you have a system? So within Star Trading, the education company that I run for financial market trading, we have a very, very clear system, step-by-step processes. Do you have the equivalent within HMO platform?
Yes, so we have what's called our tenant first method. It's what I talk about in my book, so Next Level Landlord. So that particular process is essentially looking at it from the idea behind it is if you put the tenant at the heart of every decision that you make, then you have a very successful business. So in any other business, you identify someone's problem, you solve that problem, and then you charge for that solution, and then you have a very successful business. And in housing, people forget that there's a whole bunch of people and tenants living in the house, so they just create they focus on the property, the bricks and mortar. Whereas actually, if you put the tenant at the heart of the decision making process, then you can't really go wrong. So the tenant first method is based around that. But it is as I said, it's a step-by-step, and we have a modular approach, because there is a lot involved in HMOs. So we have to, first of all, demystify a lot of the complexities of it, but then also to give people the motivation to want to go and do it. But then we have some very clear steps and outcomes that we would expect people to do in order to maximize their chance of getting the results when it comes to sourcing it, finding a location, sourcing a deal, and even finding the money. So people are investing without their own cash or sourcing deals on, and then even when it comes to renting it out and the co-living approach that we use to rentals. So that tenant first method, focus, insights, review and deliver, thrive, and service. Those are the elements that we go through, and each of those, there's almost like subsystems within it, because there's so much. We just want to simplify each bit of the process as much as possible.
Brilliant. So if people wanted to learn this process, they're interested in HMOs, what's a really good way that they could go about doing that?
So first and foremost, I said, buy a copy of the book, Next Level Landlord. You can find it on Amazon. or we do what's called the HMO Hunt Challenge, which is a really good way of dipping your toe in the water. It's designed to help people find their first or next HMO. And it's a completely free challenge. It's over 3 evenings, so about 60 to 90 minutes each evening, with basically clear actions of what to go and do. We're actually going to build a pipeline. So I will guarantee that over those 3 days, you will walk away with at least 30 leads that you can go and follow up and put offers in on to potentially get HMOs. We've done it once before, and it was such a success that we're running it again. And off the first one, there were quite a few offers accepted off the back of those of the challenge. So it's amazing to see that people are just following a simple go away, do this. And you know what? The people that get the most results are the ones that action the actions that we set.
Yeah,
it's the ones that go and say, well,
surprise,
you said,
surprise.
I know. It's the ones that go, you know what, you said that, but I've gone and done this instead. It's like, well, okay.
You know, I hear that all the time, and it's so frustrating. And it's just like, please, the system works. Just trust the system, trust the process, do what we've been teaching people all over the world to do successfully. Just do it. Stop trying to create it or reinvent the wheel. Just use the wheel, please.
Just do it. Yeah. And it's so clear to see as well. Say, the most successful clients we had, we literally said, go and do this. And then we come back the next time we see them and they've done the actions, and you know what, they've got some results. So the same way with this challenge over 3 days, we'll set some homework each day. You go and do it. You know what, you'll get some results. And if you implement it and continue to implement it after those 3 days, then I've no doubt and consistently that you will get a deal, an HMO deal. So it's a free challenge because it's meant to get you started, meant to get you moving, getting you just doing something and understanding what type of properties you need to look for an HMO, either an existing HMO. At the moment there's about 18 or 19,000 different HMO opportunities available using the software that we use, and we'll show you how to set it up on day one and build that pipeline. So there's so much to go around all across the UK.
Amazing. Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, Matt, thank you so much for your time today. Is there a final thought you would love to share with everybody? Maybe a word of wisdom about property, a word of wisdom about life, just to cap us off for today.
Okay, so you're looking for something philosophical.
Very philosophical, deeply
very
no pressure whatsoever.
Well, I think we've covered quite a lot of the when it comes to getting moving. A lot of people get stuck. A lot of people that we work with are people that have got stuck either because they think they're stuck in this day job, just going round and round and not able to find a way out, or they're stuck because they've done some buy-to-lets and realized that it's not going to get them out of their current situation. It's not going to get them the income they want anytime soon. In fact, the average buy-to-let doesn't even stack up anymore with 75% mortgages. So you haven't put a lot more money in, returns a lot less. So and then we've got other people that maybe done a couple of HMOs and got stuck because legislation's changing. It's getting harder. But as things get harder, the rewards get more. So you just need to understand, as I said, the process, the system, which gets you from A to B and has proven to get people from A to B to C time and time again. So becoming unstuck is all about just taking the next step forward. So as I think that's the best piece of advice I can give is do something. So if you are thinking about getting involved, getting invested into UK property, HMOs are not dead. HMOs are alive and kicking. They are the best strategy for UK residential property right now, for buying and holding, so much more than buy-to-lets because the returns are so low. So HMO is the only way to go. So that'll be my parting word.
Brilliant. Fantastic.
So come and join us on the HMO Hunt Challenge. That'll be my final word.
There we go. Another set of final words. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. And I'll put in the notes of this YouTube video how people can get in contact with you and find out more. So thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you, Lewis.